What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, joined by my co-host, Alex Wilson. Could the Giants end up trading Darius Slayton at the deadline? That's the conversation now, because if you're looking around the NFL, well, there's one really good team, 4-0 team, in desperate need of a playmaker. Could they make a move? Could the Giants be sellers at the deadline? 1-3 here, looking ahead potentially to the future. Slayton getting a lot of playing time, Jaylen Hyde not seeing the field enough. At the same time, Slayton not really pulling his weight. Few drops, not getting open a ton. Could he end up getting traded potentially to the Kansas City Chiefs at the deadline? I don't know. It definitely seems like a possibility. Alex, how are you doing today? And what are your thoughts on the Giants potentially trying to offload Darius Slayton for some assets from the Chiefs?
I mean, listen, I'm doing pretty good this weekend of football. You know, it's kind of nice sometimes, Anthony, to watch Sunday football without the Giants, because it's like you can just sit there and enjoy the game instead of being like an emotional roller coaster. We saw the Eagles play a really, really bad football game, and then the Commanders, who I called it weeks ago before the season started, the Commanders are not going to be an easy team to beat anymore. Jaden Daniels is legit. Everything I said about him is coming to fruition, and it's pissing me off. We have to watch him in the freaking NFC East now. It really hurts, actually. I know the Giants weren't in range to get him, but I just loved him as a prospect going into it. But in any case, you know, looking at Darius Slayton, what he's been to this team so far, and listen, Darius Slayton's always been a two-trick pony. He's been a dagger route guy and a go route guy and an occasional crossing route guy. Like, he is limited in a lot of ways, but he's been the Giants' leading receiver for a reason. That's because he has good chemistry with Daniel Jones, and unfortunately, Daniel Jones is not able to hit him on the deep ball anymore, and that is basically erasing any value that he has for this team, because he is not a good enough receiver to run the other routes at a high level. He's just struggling, to be quite honest with you. And, you know, Darius Slayton, if he's not getting those deep balls, he's really just not a productive receiver. So if the Kansas City Chiefs, and you just watch what happened to Rashee Rice, who is feared to have torn his ACL, and God bless my fantasy football team, and Anthony's as well, they're in a pretty interesting spot. And now a lot of kind of rumors coming out that they could be looking into maybe acquiring a guy like Devontae Adams, but why would the Raiders want to trade him in division? That's a big question for them, and I don't think they will. But, you know, Slayton, who is really a deep threat, the question is, they have Xavier Worthy, and, you know, he is that deep threat for them. Is Slayton a good fit? Is Slayton a good fit for a team like the Buffalo Bills? In any case, there's a couple of suitors that I do think could be interested in a player like Darius, who is making $6 million. He is basically going to cost you next to nothing to get, maybe a fifth-round pick. You know, he's going to be really, really cheap at the deadline. He's, you know, financially not going to count much against the cap. So, you know, I think that right now, if you're the Giants, it's time to just let Jaylen Hyde run the cardio that Darius Slayton is currently running, because, you know, Jaylen Hyde is not doing much and he's not playing much, and Darius Slayton's out there running routes and he's not getting the football. So, like, what's the difference really? You know, just have Jaylen Hyde run the cardio if you're not going to throw his way. Maybe Jaylen Hyde starts to develop because they're actually getting him playing time. I think that's probably the direction that this Giants team is heading. In the sense that I do believe that they're probably going to elevate Isaiah Hodgins from the practice squad. They'll trade Darius Slayton, and they'll promote Jaylen Hyde into that WR2 role, that deep threat, that guy that needs the reps. He needs to get on the football field. This is the thing. He's a second-year player, third-round pick. It is now or never for him. He's got to get experience. He has to start getting opportunities to catch the football, be involved, and gain some confidence. His confidence is shot, and the Giants are really good at ruining the confidence of young players. This is one of the guys, their latest kind of situation where Jaylen Hyatt's confidence is dwindling. He's getting upset. He's frustrated. And now we need him to step into this role if they do end up trading Darius Slayton. And I think they will. Like, I called it from a couple months ago. This team is not good enough to be a playoff contending team, in my opinion. They need to maximize and get draft capital. If you can get a fifth rounder for Darius Slayton from a team that needs another receiving talent, that could be valuable, you know, moving up in the draft. Maybe you find a decent player there. The Giants got Tyrone Tracy in the fifth round this past draft, and he's a solid player. I think could be a nice contributor. So, you know, Anthony, when you look at the situation at hand, how do you kind of see Slayton's situation unfolding? I do think that Jaylen Hyde is the natural kind of progressor into that WR2 role, at least just being an every down player for them. You know, if he's going to not catch the ball, if Slayton's not going to get the ball, you might as well just have Jaylen Hyde out there getting experience running routes and just staying involved. So I think that's probably the direction we're heading right now.
I think we're all ready to see Jaylen Hyde play a larger role. The kid was the Fred Biletnikoff Award winner in 2022 at Tennessee. He led the 2022 NFL draft class in pretty much every single category when it comes to deep receiving, or 2023 draft class, rather. He was a first or second round, third round pick last year. But essentially, you're getting a guy who has burner speed, straight line speed. The guy is going to beat you over the top every time he runs a route. The problem with Jaylen Hyde is, can he do the other things? Can he release against press coverage? Can he work over the middle of the field? Can he have good timing with his quarterback on some solid route running? Those are question marks, but in my opinion, those are skills that he can't obtain and sharpen unless he's playing football. And unfortunately, Jaylen Hyde hasn't played much football this season. He's just been running around in cardio moments when he knows he's not getting the ball, just running clear out routes down the field, or he just has been on the sideline. The only way that Hyatt gets better is by playing. Right now, the Giants haven't been letting him play because they're insistent on keeping Darius Slayton in the lineup, and I get it. Slayton is an established veteran. He's gone for over 700 receiving yards 4 times in his career. He's led the Giants in receiving 4 times in his career. He's a good player, but he's also a good player that's not being maximized in this offense. This is an offense that has a featured number 1 wide receiver now in Malik Neighbors. He's going to continue to get a high volume of targets and a high volume of receptions. Because of that, Slayton is not going to be the player that he knows he can be. Now, if you trade Slayton to a team that needs a wide receiver that can easily put up 700 yards in a season, as he's done so many times, well then boom, he's cooking again. He can have a resurgence in his career. And one of the things you mentioned there, Alex, was his contract. If the Giants were to trade him, the team inheriting Darius Slayton is only taking on his base salary, which is worth $2.5 million. It's a very low cost for a wide receiver who's put up over 700 receiving yards 4 times in his career. Compare his statistics to the likes of a Gabe Davis or any of these other wide receivers who've had similar statistics, and they make like 4 times that amount. So say you're the Kansas City Chiefs and you only have $5 million in cap space for the rest of the season. Rashee Rice is likely done for the year, and now you're rolling out there with an offensive lineup that features Xavier Worthy, a rookie who's a good player but still absolutely growing, and Justin Watson. And then this tight end room with Travis Kelce, who seems like he's on his last leg, and Noah Gray, who's a good player but still not capable of putting together a high volume of targets. So Darius Slayton fits seamlessly into that offense and probably walks in as the WR1 for the Chiefs immediately. And it's not just the Chiefs. They're the easy one to point to because they make a lot of sense for Slayton. But there are other teams around the league who I think would have an interest in a player capable of going for 700 receiving yards in the season. So with Slayton being that kind of player, a veteran player, a reliable player who puts up a consistent amount of yardage, I think the Giants can get a mid-round pick for him. How much can they get is the final question of this that we have to answer. Can they get a second-round pick? No. Are they going to get a fifth-round pick? Maybe. Are they at least going to get a 7th or 6th-round pick for a player that probably walks into free agency anyway? Yes. And that, to me, makes a deal worth it. You know that this guy is probably not going to re-sign here in 2025. Why would he? He's basically been turned into a lackluster player that doesn't have much to do in this offense anymore. Neighbors is the focal point. So from his perspective, go elsewhere, get your bag, go get paid. The Giants refused to pay him this offseason. I imagine Slayton would enjoy a change of scenery, and for this Giants team, at 1-3, unlikely to make a postseason run, collect some assets, start building toward the future, and giving younger player reps, i.e. Jaylen Hyde. So that's where I'm at, and that's why I think ultimately the New York Giants should and probably will end up trading Darius Slayton before the deadline. Alex, what do you think about it? Do you think it ends up happening, and what would you like to see the Giants get in return for Darius Slayton?
Yeah, I mean, get in return at this point. I mean, he's not making much. I said earlier, maybe a 5th-round pick is probably the best that we're going to get from a guy like that. You know, he's not very valuable in this offense. You said it's really the Neighbors, and even Wan'Dale Robinson's been getting so much more volume over the past couple weeks. Slayton, look, if I'm Slayton, I'm pretty mad, man. Like he held out like a little bit, but he's such a team player, and I respect him for that. He didn't hold out for long. He came back, got a couple dollars really for of incentives he's not going to hit, by the way, and that's kind of where you're looking at Darius Slayton right now. He's kind of like, you know what he's doing? He's going through the Paris Campbell effect right now, where the Giants are like, here's a couple of incentives to make you happy, and then we're not going to let you hit any of them. That's kind of what's happening to Darius Slayton right now. Like, you know, get those things, and then you don't end up actually being able to cash in at all. So, you know, looking at his workload, I'd be upset because he's actively losing money every week he plays for this team. Their passing game isn't good enough. He's not getting the football. They're not scheming him the ball. Daniel Jones can't hit the shots he does take. The stats are going to look lackluster by the time this year ends, unless he goes to a team that's going to maximize him. Mahomes is going to give him a lot of targets downfield, and he's going to freaking catch them because the ball is going to be where it needs to be. If he goes to the Bills, Josh Allen's going to hit him. Absolutely. He's going to be a good player. I think Slayton, when his confidence is high, is a solid piece in an offense. Problem is, the Giants have ruined his confidence too. So he has nothing to do in this offense to run cardio and do nothing and get a couple of catches every now and then. And then when he's getting the ball, Anthony, he's dropping some of these critical passes. That pass last week that he dropped, I think it's just a lack of confidence. He's not seeing enough targets. He's not in rhythm at all. He's zero freaking rhythm. And as a receiver, rhythm is so important. When you're getting the ball frequently, when you're getting the rock, you know where the ball is going to be. And he has no idea where the ball is going to be. He has no idea. His chemistry with Daniel Jones is deteriorating because Daniel Jones is lacking accuracy at times and not hitting the deep passes. And I think he's in no rhythm. So he has no idea what's going on half the time. And, the balls that does get thrown his way are even more critical. Those drops end up becoming even more important. So, with that being said, I think that on a team that will feed him the rock, give him more targets, scheme him the ball a little bit more, take the deep shots and actually hit them, he will be a nice piece to that puzzle. But for now, he's useless on this Giants team, and his value is only falling. I think they should trade him before it's too late, before he really reaches levels of you're getting like a 7th round, conditional pick for him. I think right now we're hoping to get a 5th, and if the sooner they trade him, the probably the better in this case.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to say because I'm a huge fan of Darius Slayton and he's been a great player for the Giants for the last 5 years, but unfortunately it feels like here in the final year of this deal with the Giants struggling, it's probably the end of the road for Darius Slayton in the Big Apple. But what do you guys think? Should the Giants try to trade Darius Slayton? Should they keep him? Do you think he will be traded? What do you guys think they could get for him in return? Let us know all your thoughts on the topic down below in the comment section. And make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new and all that fun stuff. Go check us out on social media as well at Fireside Giants. But that's going to do it. We'll catch you all on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go Giants.
Perfect.